Well, yeah, I gotta,
Oh, you beat me to it.
that's all right. It'll be easier for me. So we're going to record this session and we'll post it on our YouTube channel later so that if you want to go back through it to pick up something, or if you know somebody that missed it, you can just refer them to the YouTube site. So welcome everybody to our Blue Symposium 2023. This is our second time, I guess, doing it in this version, and we're pleased that you guys could all attend. Before we start everything, happy birthday, Sandra. Sandra Farn's birthday today, so we all wish her a happy birthday. So slight change to the agenda tonight. Ron Boucher can't make it. He is sick, so he won't be doing his presentation, but we do have a couple of really great presentations to start off with. And we're going to go right to our first one. I'm very, very pleased to introduce our national umpire in chief, Jeff Whipple.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Although it says John Snook on the screen, you do a fine impersonation of John.
Yep.
And good evening, everybody. And thanks so much for the invitation to join you this evening. It's truly a pleasure to be able to speak to umpires and to be able to sort of share a little bit about what's going on at our national level and how that is supported by our largest partner, and that is Softball Ontario and the umpire program there. So I want to start off just a little bit about introducing the ODC, the Officiating Development Committee, and talk about sort of where we're at and what some of our priorities are. And Sandra is here tonight, and happy birthday, Sandra. You told me you had wine. I don't see wine. Sandra's celebrating her birthday. So we have 6 members of our ODC, and Sandra is one of them. Sandra is involved heavily in rules interpretation and also in the slow pitch community, working with our slow pitch program both domestically and internationally. So she is very involved with that. As well, Frankie Billingsley is now a member in Ontario, and I don't know if Frankie's on tonight, but Frankie is also on, and her big portfolio, and I'm tremendously proud of the work that she and the recruitment and retention committees have done across the country in each of the PTs, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but that's been her big portfolio in the last year or so, is recruitment and retention. Brent Chadwick's our National Education Officer, looks after our exams and all of those things. Don Farr works a lot with Sandy on the slow pitch side, and Don's also been involved heavily over the last year or two in bringing transitioning our rule book from the old traditional 12 rules to the new WBSC format. And so that's been a big lift for Don, and now he's taking on the case book, which we're updating. Genevieve Gaudreau works, Jen and I work very hard on Canadian Championship staffing and working with our PT partners to make sure that those tournaments are staffed. And Jen also looks after our umpire recognition program. And Scott McLaren is our elite umpire development programming lead. And he also works a lot on the international side in developing sort of our international umpires. We also have 2 members who aren't ODC members, but they are. So our staff member, who's Donna Ozarko, and many of you know Donna, manager of officials and publications for Softball Canada, and our board liaison, who is new and just joined our ODC as a board liaison, and Rob Anderson, who's been a long time member of our board. So we're excited to have Rob on board as our board liaison. So without a doubt, our number one priority in the last 2 years, since we've kind of got back on the field after COVID, has been recruitment and retention. You know, when I look at the numbers, 2019, which was our last big year, our full year, we had 3,748 registered umpires in Canada. In 2020, the next year, we were less than half, 1,440. So that was a big hit due to COVID. And we knew we'd lose a lot of those people for whatever reason. Some of them found out that there's something to do in summer other than softball. They found fishing, and they found golfing, and they found cabins, and they found boats, which were all a little more safe than being around a whole bunch of people playing sport. And so we lost a lot of people, and a lot of people were, you know, in their 50s and 60s. Our umpire group was aging anyway, but we probably would have had them for another 5 or 10 years, many of them. So that COVID was kind of a push out the door for many. But as I said, I'm really proud of the work that Frankie and each of the PT, UICs, and provincial and territorial recruitment officers have been doing. We went from 1440 to, in 2021, we went to 1950. So we gained about 500 umpires in over that year. And the next year, last year, we were at 2724. So those have been, you know, really welcoming numbers, but in some ways they're a bit misleading, because a lot of those umpires that we lost, you know, Scott McLaren turned them super users. They were the super umpires who did 20 games a week. They're working every night, and they're doing 15 or 20 games a week, like many of you do. And it's not easy to replace them, but either their experience or the number of games they're willing to do with young umpires, you know, youth and you know, early 20s, young adults, because they're probably only going to do 2, maybe 4 games a week, couple of nights, and that's it. They're not going to be out every night of the week, most of them. So, you know, you almost need 5, maybe 10 of those young umpires to replace a one super umpire who took a lot of games a week. So we're really working on building back numbers, and we're hoping this year our goal is to be over 3,000. I think that's a very realistic goal. We're only, you know, a couple of hundred umpires away. And so if we can get back to 3,000, and I think hopefully we'll be closer to 3,500. And I'll talk about why I think that might happen in a bit. We have 44 active international officials who are still actively seeking international assignments, 32 fast pitch and 12 slow pitch. And some of them are sitting here on this call, and we're excited about the opportunities internationally. We've rebounded. So we're getting a lot more international opportunities, World Cups, America's qualifiers, and exchange programs as well. But domestically, that's where our real focus is. The international stuff will come, but our domestic program, our Canadian program, is where we're really focusing most of our attention right now. So what again, it is all about recruitment and retention. And so I'm really excited about the numbers. One of the things that really excites me is something that has come out of Ontario recently, and I think it's going to go a long way to maintaining and retaining young officials. And that is the fact that Ontario is now going to, maybe everybody know this, Jamie?
Yep.
Okay, so Ontario, it's public knowledge. Ontario is going to card nationally. They're going to register all their officials as level 1 NOCP, National Official Certification Program officials, including what used to be the JD program. And the reason I like that, first, there's 2 reasons. First of all, we were seeing a lot of young officials in other provinces. By the time they were 20, they've had 2 or 3 Canadian championships. So those officials are, you know, 5 years ahead of Ontario officials. And, you know, I think that this will give those Ontario officials a head start and get them some of the really elite ones, promising ones, you know, into Canadian championships when they're 16, 17, 18. And that's our goal, is to get them young. The reason we want them into our Canadian championships young, 2 reasons. First of all, the WBSC is now looking for younger and younger officials for international certification. You know, they would prefer them to be internationally certified by the time they're 30 or 40. So they have a long roadmap, a long laneway along the international career before they age out. There's no maximum age, but before, you know, if you get in 50, reasonably, you're only going to get a 10-year international career. But if we get them in at 20 or 30, they're not only going to be healthier and be able to perform at a higher performance level because of that, but also potentially get a longer career out of them internationally. So WBSC is looking younger, but I think even more importantly, in terms of retaining those young officials, one of the things that we see, and I'm a school teacher, so I'm working with youth all the time, is that they want opportunities. They want to be recognized. And, you know, it's sometimes hard for us older generation to sort of understand that and why it is, but they want to have the opportunities early. And if we make, so when they become 18, 19, 20, in their early 20s, and they've got to make decisions between, you know, when they go to university, they've got jobs, they've got all these other things coming on, they've got relationships and families and all these things. We want to make their decision to leave the program as hard and difficult as possible. And if they've had some success and a taste of what it means to be an elite umpire at a Canadian championship level, that decision to leave our program suddenly becomes harder, because they've now had that taste and they want more. Whereas if they haven't had that Canadian championship experience and those elite level opportunities, and relationships come along and all these other things come along, then it's very easy for them to leave our program, or easier. So we want to make that decision to leave our program difficult for them, make it challenging. And I believe that by giving more of them elite opportunities younger, I think it's going to keep more of them. And so I'm really excited about the decision that Softball Ontario has made. And I think it's going to go a long way to developing youth umpires and elite youth umpires in Ontario and across the country. What else? Our PT partners. So one of the things that people ask me, and we get it all the time, is from our PT, the provincial sport organizations. We get it from umpires. We get it from all, and not just in the umpire program. It's also in coaching. It's also in players. You know, we're always asked to mandate that provinces do something about so and so, or to correct an error that's being made at the provincial level. One of the things that's really important for you to understand, and I've said this before and I'll say it again because I think it's worth repeating, Softball Canada doesn't have any jurisdiction over over things that are provincial jurisdiction. So we're not a judge and jury, we're not the Supreme Court, we're not any national body, and people can come and ask, but we really have nothing to do. We can't overrule a PSO. They are completely independent and have total jurisdiction on things in their matter. The only thing in the umpire program that we have are level 4 and level 5 certification programs. So those umpires in some way become more accountable to the national organization, because we ask them for for their activity reports, and we assign them or create opportunities for them as Canadian Championship UICs and international officials. So we do have a little leverage over officials, but I will tell you that the buck stops with the provincial body. And if you're one of those officials, level 4 or level 5, and you're looking for Canadian Championship UIC, if you're looking for international assignments, you have to make sure that your PSO, that you're in good standing and that you are serving your PSO in a good way. Because if we're not, we check with the PSOs. And if the PSO says, you know, we're not happy with Joe Smith, we're not going to assign him. It's that simple. So the PSOs have the right of refusal. And so so make sure, if you're one of those officials, that your first obligation, if you have time to spare, is going to be with that PSO. So that's where we're at. You know, we're pretty happy with how things have rebounded out of COVID. We're expecting a really active Canadian Championship season again. One of the things that I mentioned earlier, the things we're looking ahead to is Now that we've got the rule book kind of massaged and we're continuing with the final pieces of that, we're renewing the case book to match that new rule book format. Sandy's been working really hard on a new level 1 workbook for digital, and thank you, Sandy, for that. And we're going to roll that out soon. It's being formatted and translated now, and we're working with PTs and continuing to work with the prevention PT or associations to enhance the recruitment and retention initiatives across the country and really increase those numbers, because the health of the sport, we're hearing, and I was telling Jamie behind the scenes before, we're hearing it from provincials bodies, that at Softball Canada, they're telling us that their number one concern right now in the sport is umpire numbers. They're seeing teams rebounding. They're getting teams back on the field. They're getting competitions started again, but they're really, really worried. And this is not just Ontario. This is every provincial and territorial body. They are very concerned that they don't have the number of umpires to be able to service the games. And so that is our number one concern. And I know that Frankie's going to continue to work. And so that should be, and I hope, and I know it is, everybody's number one concern. I'd be remiss if I didn't put a push in for Blue Convention. Blue Convention in Winnipeg on the Easter weekend in April. The slogan is Connect, Learn, and Celebrate. If you attend Blue Convention, and many of you have, it is our flagship program. And I can't stress enough that if you are interested in being an elite level official, this is somewhere you want to be, because you can do three things. You can connect, and a lot of that is, how should I put it? A lot of that is just being seen and having those connections with people who can help you along the way, can give you some advice, know who's who, learning, but also celebrating. We're going to be celebrating, a bunch of new Indicator Club inductees. There's keynotes, breakout sessions. Just confirmed a session today that I think is going to be really cool for one of our keynotes. We got some panels. There's a women in umpiring luncheon, Indicator Club banquet, and of course, level 4 and instructor evaluator clinics. One thing I will note is that the deadline for hotel reservations for the Delta is, and it's only $109 a night. You won't get a better room rate than that in any city in the country. So the deadline for that is March the 4th. So if you're thinking of going, if you're still on the fence, and but make your hotel reservation. You can always cancel it, but make sure you make it before March the 4th. So that deadline drops down. After that, the rate goes up to almost $200. So it's important that you do that. One last thing, officiating development committee, the appointment process, because some people have been asking, and there will be some new people on the ODC next year. I'm certain of it, because I know of people who won't be being reoffering. The process for that is there's a call for applications in July or August. Keep an eye out for that. The deadline September the 30th. There's interviews for candidates, and then the appointments are announced, and they're 2-year terms beginning October the 1st. So look for that if you're at all interested and think that you have something to offer at the national level. Certainly jump in there and do that. I've always, and the NDU has a tremendous say as to that committee, and I've told Sandra and I've told the ODC that the 6 best decisions I've made are the 6 people that sit around the table with me. And absolutely, because my position, you can't do anything alone. You got to have 6 good people, and I've been very fortunate to have Sandra and Frankie and the others as well. So it's really important that you have that good people are around that table. It's not a committee in certain terms of giving feedback. It's a working group, and everybody has something to do, and they all work hard and produce a lot of great content and great ideas. So that's really where we're at. And I'm not going to take time for questions because I know the agenda is tight, but I will tell you, if you have a question and you want to talk to me, my email is whatever is always open. My email is on the website, but if if you want it. It's jeff.whipple@outlook.com. Feel free to fire me an email and let me know if you have an idea or a question or just want some clarification. Then, fire it away and I'll be glad to answer it. So thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everybody, for the time tonight, and wish you well in your next season. See a lot of familiar faces there, and it's exciting to know that Softball Ontario is well on the way to getting their feet back on them, just like as are all the other provinces. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Jonathan, can you find Steve Miller and make sure he's unmuted? So Steve's in a bit of a quandary tonight. He was able to join us, but his daughter is playing her first playoff game tonight. So he likes to get to that too. So I'm not going to give Steve much of an introduction. I've known Steve since he was 16 years old. He was absolutely a terrific kid that grew up into a terrific man. NHL referee, Olympic referee. He's done playoffs. And I think from there, we'll just let him speak for himself. So Steve, the floor is all yours.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on tonight. It is an honor to be on with baseball referees. It's usually the opposite way around, where I'm on with young referees or even senior referees in our local area. So thanks for having me here. Some of the stuff that Jeff was touching on, I had been listening for about the last 15 minutes. The officiating in all of Canada and all of North America, probably the world, I don't know the world, but in North America is in the same dilemma as you guys. There's no officials, hockey officials left to do the games. I'm from Stratford, Ontario. I help out with the Stratford Referees Association in my local area. And we've already had to cancel probably 6 to 8 games already because we couldn't make games on a Saturday when all the games are on, or on a Sunday. So we're in the exact same dilemma as you. I've taken on a big role in the Stratford Referees Association with recruitment and development. The Stratford Referees Association was able to get 14 new referees. And new referees, I mean, as in 14 to 16-year-old boys or girls. So our association is well on the way if we can keep doing that the next few years. So we're in the exact same position as you guys. I mean, your season's just starting. We're near the end of our season for minor hockey and all that. But I know exactly what you guys are going through. So I feel feel the dilemma that you guys are in and know exactly where you're at. On another note, like Jamie said, I worked for Jamie as a 14, 15-year-old boy. He got me, that was my first job. It was a rental company, so I learned lots of things. I learned a lot of swear words. I learned how to, fix machinery. I got to do lots of things. So I got to drive his truck around. It was my first job. So I've known Jamie for a long time. Lifelong Stratford resident along with him, and that's our connection. For my job, I'm just recently retired. I'm about a year and a half into retirement. I spent 21 years in the NHL. I worked roughly with playoffs, just over 1,400 NHL games. That's including playoffs. I got to represent Canada coming up through the system. I got to represent Canada at the World Junior Championships as a young official. I went to a pre-Olympic tournament, and then also I got to work in the OHL and the American Hockey League, and I worked the finals in each one of those leagues. And that was kind of my stepping stone into the NHL. So I got to do everything, and that was not without hard work. It took a lot of hard work, perseverance, and a lot of self-doubt. And the self-doubt is one of the worst things that can creep into an official's vocabulary or their game. We're all in the same boat. There's so many similarities to my job that was on the ice to your job that is on the field. I see it daily in the summer when I watch my kids play baseball, when I go to a Major League Baseball game. The job's exactly the same, just a different sport. So coming up through the ranks, I finally made the NHL. Like I said, I also that was where a lot of self-doubt came in, because once you make it to the top there, there's so many learning curves. Just like you guys and girls are on the field and you have a bad call or you have a bad game, there's parents yelling at you. There's all the fans, the coaches. The thing that you have to stay connected to is the game. You have to go back to the grassroots. That's what I always did. I always go back to the basic rules that I learned coming up through when I was a 14-year-old official. Now I'm a 28-year-old official in the NHL. I know it sounds backwards that I'm using the stuff that I learned when I was 14, 15, 16 with the mom that was yelling at me over at the arena. Now I have 20,000 fans yelling at me in Dallas, Texas. But you know what? I always revert it back to the thing that always got me through the game is my self-confidence and my self-awareness of the game. I was always in the game. I was always in the moment. And by it being in the moment, I always tried to, if the mistake was made, which mistakes were made many times, and even in the NHL games, but I still had to stay in the moment and move on. Reflect on it after the game and figure out why you made the mistake, but not the time of the game or the time of the inning is not to try and figure out what's going on here. Go back to your grassroots and always be grounded to those the basic rules, the ones that you learn coming up through. The one thing that I did when I was coming up through too is I always read. Like obviously my job was a little bit different because it was a full-time job, so I had lots of time. The travel, staying in hotels and all that. The one thing that I did was I always read the rule book. No matter, even if I knew the rule, I could be reading a rule and I'd be going, oh, I know this rule. But you know what? I had to read it again so I could keep instilling it in my head, because that rule might not pop up for another 15 games, maybe not even that season. But I had to have that ready. So that was something that I could control. So I always tried to do the things that I could control. The things that I could control were my fitness, how I traveled, how I prepared for the game, the rule knowledge, everything that pertained to the game I could control except the game that was played. The things that I looked after, if I did my checkbook before or check mark off before, I was pretty well set for the game and could go out and work the game. Now things pop up. One of the things that always popped up was being prepared. Being an NHL official, I had to work 75 games a year. Well, I know exactly what you guys are talking about. Like Jeff was saying, some of your umpires work hundreds of games during the season. Well, you can't be excellent at all 100 games or 200 games or 300 games. But you know what? You can change that. And the way that you change it is the preparation, going back to the basics all the time. Go back all the time to the basics. So, so if I was in Columbus, I was on the end of a 10-day road trip. I had just worked 7 games. This is my last game. And it's 2 last place teams. I'm trying to think who's in last place now. Columbus and who else would it be? Maybe like a San Jose. Do you think that the players want to be there? It's a snowy night out, just like tonight. Do I want to be there? Maybe not. But you know what? I always had to go back to that, being ready for the game, doing the stuff, being ready for the game, and being able to turn it on when I get there. Now, another thing that I was always prepared for is when I was walking to the rink, from the rink, around the hotel, because everybody's watching you. Like I can honestly say, when I go to the ball field to watch my daughter or my son play in the summer, first thing I watch is the umpires walking from their car. They're walking over from the car. Well, if they're cursing and swearing or spitting gum out on the ground and all that kind of stuff, and they don't look presentable, I mean, that's my first impression. So my first impression is probably not very good. So that's one thing that you guys can control. So when I used to walk into the arena or around leaving the hotel, I mean, I was pleasant to everybody. I looked after myself. I was well groomed. When I got to the I was going to say ball field, but when I got to the hockey arena, I was pleasant to everyone. I didn't know everybody's name, but I would say hi to them if they said hi to me. And then once you enter your room and that, you can do whatever you want once you get into the confines of your room. But when you're out in the public, and especially you guys and girls at the ball field, I mean, people are watching you. So that's something you can control. So I always took great pride in that I could honestly say that I could go probably in any rink in North America and either know somebody and also know that I respected every single person in the arena, from the Stratford Arena to Vancouver, all the way down to Florida. Everybody, you respect it. Everybody's not going to respect you, because trust me, I know exactly when they're disrespecting you, the easiest thing to do, but you got to get past that. You just got to go, you got to move on. And because it always reflects back on you, especially when you're part of that community and that baseball community. People get to know who Steve Miller is. If I was an umpire, and Steve Miller, you can really get under him. You know, by the fifth inning, I mean, if you yell at him all the time, he's going to have his backup. So you just want to be that umpire that, and for me, be that referee that everybody knew, first of all, what they were getting, and second of all, that I was going to go out and do the job, the best job that I could. And another thing that happened was when I did make a mistake, I was honest. I was honest with the players. I always found that crazy, is that when a player was yelling and screaming at a TV timeout, and the first thing you said is, I made a mistake. It always killed me when I'd see the look in their eye and they go, "What'd you say?" So yeah, I know that I made a mistake, and it will. In my next thing that I would say is that it won't happen again. And you know, that usually calmed everything down. There was the odd guy that would flip out and call you every single thing and all that kind of stuff, but you know what? Being honest with you, so it's not going to happen again, and you move on. And I see some of the when I watch my kids play, I mean, I see mistakes made, but that's part of the game. Players make mistakes, coaches make mistakes, parents make mistakes driving to the baseball field, hockey arena. I might make the wrong turn. So does that make me a bad parent because I made a bad call? And you tell the kids that I made, or not the wrong way. Doesn't make me a bad parent for going the wrong way to the baseball field and getting lost. Why should it make an umpire, or a hockey official, or a lacrosse official a bad official for making one mistake? So that's what I'm dealing with the young referees right now too. So back to that, being prepared. That's one of the things that you guys can control. Being prepared before you get to the rink. You guys have all your equipment. You're ready to go. You're presentable going to the field. And then once you get to the field, everything is professional. And the one thing that really bothers me, I know we all have to have personalities and all that kind of stuff, but being an official on the field, I mean, laughing and joking is part of the game and all that kind of stuff. But if you cross the line with that, because I see too many hockey referees, and I'm going to use hockey referees, try and become friends with the players. Well, that's the one thing that I never did. I never became friends with them. I respected them, but I never really engaged with them. I would communicate with them, but I communicated with them about the sport and about the game that we're doing. I'm going to consider it a job because that was my job. So when you're on the baseball field, I mean, smiling and all that kind of stuff and having fun and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, like if something happens on the field and you're laughing with the coach that just benefited from a call, you might not even be laughing with them at that, but the perception from the other team, the other fans, and everybody involved with the game was, what's the umpire laughing at, or what is the referee laughing at? Because they don't understand how we operate. Because I know that when I see stuff like that happen, I know the official is not trying to do what it looks like, but the majority of the people have never been and never walked in our shoes or skates, so they don't understand that. Yeah, the official wasn't even laughing at the player that got hurt, or the player that just hit a home run, or scored a goal, or the team that lost the game. There's so many fans around, and I hear it because you hear the fans, oh, what's going on there? What's all that? No, that's not how it works. But so you really have to make sure that you control your emotions on the field and really watch what you do, because that's what I always tried to do too, because I knew all the eyes. You think about even when we were at TV timeouts, so that you think that the NHL's gone to the commercial. Well, guess what they do is they put a camera on everybody, because the linesmen, we would stand in between the benches. We knew that there was a camera on us for the next 200 seconds, because that's what the commercial is. So to the next 200 seconds, there's going to be a camera on us because we're standing in between the benches. Well, if I do anything, if I squirt the water at, say, one of the players, if someone made a joke to me and I squirted the water, what's ESPN or TSN is going to go, look at this referee just made this bad call, and he's joking around with this player that just got the benefit of the call. But that's not even how it was. They can portray it whatever way they want. And me as a baseball parent and fan, I can think anything I want to, especially when I see things happen. So I think we just got to be on guard about that. That's enough about that kind of stuff. And we all know that. Being prepared, just keep going back to the basics, guys and girls. It's the rule book is there. Know the rules. It is one of those things where if you know the rules, nothing can backfire, because you know more than everybody else on the field. I'm not going to try and pretend that I know the rules of baseball. I mean, when I go to a baseball game, I have to ask everyone around me half the time what's going on. Vice versa for a lot of people at hockey game. Everybody thinks they know what offside is. Well, ever since video review has come in, I don't know about you, but offside's got really, really confused for me, because you're watching it on TV and they can rewind it and all that kind of stuff, because it used to be such a fast play. Now they can pinpoint where your foot is and is it in the air and all that. So the average fan thinks they know rules, baseball rules, hockey rules, tennis rules. The average fan doesn't know anything. So when everybody's yelling and screaming on the field, you've got the grasp of the rules. What you need to do is you need to be confident in what you need to do. And the way to be confident is by knowing the rules. So the one other thing that I always took great pride in is, Jeff had touched on it sometimes, that some of you guys lose some umpires because they try and progress up through the system, and they don't get the big game. They don't get picked for this event and all that. Well, that happened to me too. It happens at every level, but you got to stick with it. If you're good, they're going to find you and you're going to move on. So like, I got passed over so many times when I was coming up through the amateur ranks for going to the World Juniors, for going to the Olympics, for going to all the events. But perseverance, hard work, and determination, it pays off in the end. It pays off. It beats politics. Every sport has politics. Your umpiring stuff has politics. My hockey officiating stuff has politics. You know what? You got to put that stuff aside. You move on, because you know what? That stuff's never going to leave. That stuff's going to be there all the time. It's the guys that can put that stuff aside, guys and girls that can put that stuff aside. It's not easy to do. Trust me, I sat in hotel rooms many nights going, holy cow, after I just got booted from the playoffs and just had an excellent game. And then I found out that I wasn't working anymore. My summer had begun. I know everybody thinks, oh, that sounds great. No, I want to work right to the very end. I wanted to work the finals every single year, but I never did. I only got there 3 times. 3 times in 21 years. And trust me, I had a lot of good games and still got axed and out of the playoffs. And the reason why I got axed is because there was a guy that was better. He was better that year. That just happens. That happens in every sport. That happens at every factory. Happens at every hospital. There's better surgeons than other surgeons. So, but if you keep working at it and keep going, it pays off. It pays off with assignments. And Jeff and Jamie can attest to that. You stay with it. That will lead to better things for yourself on the boys' side and girls' side. So, so I'm gonna finish up here. My hockey career, I mean, 21 years in the NHL. I had So many great things happened to me. I got to take, near the end, I got to work special events where I got to take my family. That's including like outdoor games. I got to work 2 outdoor games. I got to work an all-star game. Those are things that I cherish. And the reason why I cherish is because I got to share it with my family. You know, on a Thursday or a Wednesday night tonight, when I was working in like previously when I was working in New York, Madison Square Gardens, my parents and my wife and kids never got to share that feeling with me. But at those events, they got to share it. So I got to see some really neat things in my career. I got to travel the world. I just want to let you know that that there's so many similarities with all sports in officiating that I know exactly how you guys are leading up to the season. I want to wish you guys a successful and healthy season because I know injuries can creep in. But I'll just give it back to Jamie. Good luck this year and great talking to you guys. Good luck.
Thanks, Steve. There's a lot of great advice given there. I just want one quick question. What is your absolute highlight of your career? You got to pick one thing.
Yep, my one thing, it was my first Stanley Cup final. My first Stanley Cup final was Detroit versus Pittsburgh Penguins, and the game was at the old Joe Louis Arena. So my parents were there. I had some other family there. My wife was there. I'm going to say my newborn baby, she was like about 3 weeks old because my wife had a baby during that playoff run. So it was a overwhelming experience because not only was I going deep in the playoffs and working my first final, but I was also having a child. So everybody drove into Detroit. I was already in Detroit. I couldn't sleep that day. I couldn't sleep. Because I knew I was going on the ice at 7:30. It was game number 2, Pittsburgh versus Detroit. So Datsu and Crosby. I can still remember. You could see the hotel that we stayed at Joe Louis or near Joe Louis Arena. I could see out the hotel window, and I could see the. So I was constantly on the phone with my family saying, "Where are you?" They said, "We're just pulling up," and I could see our white vehicle. I could see our white vehicle coming through, and that's when it hit me that this is what I want. I want my family to be here. I've been working my whole life to make the pinnacle of hockey. And I couldn't wait. Like I don't think I slept for 48 hours before and after because of the excitement before and then the excitement after. So that would be my highlight.
Okay. So that young daughter that was 3 weeks old, that's the one you're there to watch hockey with right now?
Nope, that's another one. I have 3.
All right.
So
all right.
yeah. So I had that one there. I had everybody there. I had 3 children. I had all that. They were all there. It's just that 3-week-old, she kind of put a lot of pressure on us. Me trying to get home. My boss was Stephen Walkham at the time. I remember he said, "Well, you're supposed to work tomorrow. You think she's going to have the baby?" I go, "I don't know if she's going to have a baby." Like, she goes, "Do you want to go home?" I go, "I don't know if I want to go home." He goes, "I think you should go home." So he said, "You go home, and then you can always drive to." There was lots of teams that were close by that I could drive to. So he goes, "You don't have to get on a plane. You can just drive." So I remember Emerson, that's who was born. She was born on about 7 a.m. in the morning, and I was in my car driving to Pittsburgh, like within about 8 hours. And so yeah, but that would be the highlight for sure, along with a lot of other things. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint exactly one thing, but that's one that always stands out, especially when I see my family after the game and all that kind of stuff, and everybody was on a high, you know what I mean? From my parents to my wife to my uncle and aunt to my friends. It was great. That's a great feeling to have.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you from your daughter any longer. I really want to thank you for this presentation. There's some great comments being made. Everybody's truly enjoyed this, and I thank you a lot, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome. And like I said, good luck this season, and everybody have great games. And I know you guys get injured too, so just please stay healthy and drive safely to the games because you guys travel a lot too. So
Thanks. Good luck to your daughter.
Okay, I'm going to the game right now.
Good.
See you later. See ya.
Okay. So I knew Steve was a little pressed for time, so I kind of skipped over something really, really important, which I have to do now. I got to introduce our new slow pitch provincial umpire in chief, Dave Jones. You want to say a few words?
Sure. Well, hey, thanks everybody for joining the virtual symposium. I know we'd rather be gathered together in person. Blue convention year, though, we decided that a virtual meet would be the best for us. But again, I'm glad that everybody's here. I'm looking forward to a very promising season. I got some big shoes to fill for my predecessors. Hopefully I can do that, and we get some more umpires out there. We do a good job and have a great season. So thanks again for joining the call.
So as I mentioned earlier, Ron Boucher is sick, so he can't do his scheduled presentation. So we're going to jump right to Jonathan Baker, our Executive Director of Softball Ontario, and he's going to run us all through how to register, how to do your profile, and talk a little bit about the what the office is up to. Jonathan?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's great to see so many familiar faces here. Hope everyone is having an awesome off season and is getting excited for this upcoming season. This year we're starting things a little earlier. Last year I know we were jammed in terms of our clinic season between basically Easter and May 2-4. We crammed, I don't know how many clinics it was. Jamie, do you remember how many clinics it was? It was like 40 some umpire clinics in about 8 weeks time.
Yeah, I blocked that memory out.
You too, eh? It was a very busy time. We got through it, and we're excited to be back this year and being able to start a little earlier and have a lot of new and exciting things going for us. On the call tonight, I just want to introduce Amanda Cote. She's one of our staff members. Her and along with Troy Moffat, who wasn't able to be on the call tonight. That's our staff in the office. So we're going to walk through the registration process, which I think everyone on here is probably done. If you haven't, it's a fairly easy process. We're going to walk through it quickly. I know the last couple of years there have been some glitches with our system and whatnot, and as it is a new system. So we've worked through some of those, and this year, because we've made some changes to the program, there will be some more there. We had to make some other changes, and so there's those are in development right now and being tested so that they will be in full operation for when we open registration. Jamie, do we want to talk about registration date? I see a question there. Tried to register tonight, no joy. That's because registration hasn't been opened yet. So that's good that it doesn't work, because if it did, then we'd have an even bigger issue with our system. So on that note, I think
actually, John, if I could just jump in with a couple
Sure.
words. We have asked for some changes to the program so that we can better track clinics, different levels, and that sort of stuff. So the developer has had to have some time to develop that, but they're in the testing stages now. So I'm thinking, correct me, Jonathan, March 1st is kind of our target date.
March 1st is that should work, no problem. So I guess that's a week today. We're looking to open registration. So we will send something out similar to how we did tonight with the links to the call, announcing that registration is open, as well as posting it on social media and on the website as well. So stay tuned for that. That's big news coming forth. And I know as we kind of discussed earlier today, the JD program kind of transitioning to it has thrown another wrench into some of those things. So we're trying to figure out the back end of things. But we're excited that all the JD umpires will be fully carded umpires this year and being able to hopefully climb the ranks much quicker. So as Jamie was talking about, we have added some new features to the MRS system. or when I refer to MRS, it is the member registration system. So that is the registration system for all of Softball Ontario for the clinics. You would sign up for clinics, register as an umpire, et cetera, et cetera. So some of those new features, particularly for umpires, is how we are tracking clinics and evaluations. I know in the past that was very much a paper process that we were trying to get away from. Basically what'll happen now is once you get an evaluation done, your evaluator will actually be able to log in and upload said evaluation form to your profile. And that evaluation will stay on your profile for good. And so you'll be able to see that and basically be able to prove that you are a registered umpire, or you've climbed your levels and whatnot. So there's a couple questions coming through here. I just want to make sure we get through all this. Going from not being carded, which clinics do I register? So level 1 would be the first clinic that anyone would do now. We've essentially taken away the JD specific clinic. So everybody will attend a level 1 clinic as a youth umpire. I believe that's what we're calling it, right, Jamie? A youth umpire will take a level 1 clinic. And essentially they will be a fully carded umpire. So level 1 would be the first. Obviously there's evaluations and whatnot that happen, other clinics to climb those ranks. But that'll all be tracked now through the system. I know there is some discrepancies in terms of who was what level and whatnot, because our old database wasn't nearly as effective as we had hoped. And so it was making it difficult to track. So we're hoping that this will clean up a lot of that misinformation and be able to track this a lot more efficiently. Jamie, do you want me to walk through the registration process? I can do that quickly.
Yeah,
if
I
we
think
want.
it'd be a good idea.
Okay. So let's do that then. I'm going to share my screen here. And we can go through here. Let's go here. Okay, so does everyone see the screen here? We are now, this is kind of the landing page that you'll get to. This is accessed via hitting login now on the Softball Ontario website at the top right corner. So everyone will come to this page here. This is actually our test site right now. So I can actually register through this right now. But the production live site is now not working right now. It's not live. So I'm going to walk through here. So as an umpire, new umpire, brand new user, we're going to come here, sign up here. And we're going to come in here. For all you Leaf fans out there. Okay, we're going to enter our email, re-enter, and hit continue. So once that happens, we're going to have to get our email. So we're going to have to go log into our email, and we are going to have to, there we go, right here. No, that's Swoop. Here we are. Click on that email link. A lot of times that link will go to your junk folder. So if you don't get that email to your inbox right away, it's important to go check your junk folder to see if got that. I don't want this. Okay. So we're going to register here. We're going to walk through this process. So this is where we enter all our information, password. So this is all your generic information that you'll fill out so that we have your mailing address and whatnot. It is important that if you move throughout the season or whatever, that you go back in and update that information. I know last year when we were mailing out rule books, we were going based on the information in the system, and some people had moved and not changed that, and so we had rule books going to your new homeowners, your new tenants or whatever. So that obviously was problematic. So if you do move throughout the season, it's important that you log back into your account and update that information so we have it on file. Acknowledge the waiver. And then here we are. So this is our dashboard here. From here, we will go into our registration tab. And because I am a new user right now, this is kind of one of the new functions. It is offering me the new umpire role, and it is defaulting my level to level 1. So as of right now, everyone's level in the system, whatever you registered for last year is now locked. The only way to have that changed is one of the admins. So that would go through an evaluation. Then we are able to upload like your new level. But right now, all of that is locked. So whatever you were last year, it'll default to that until we move through that process. So once I'm here, I hit register. We're going to check out. And so here we have a couple different payment options. So this is sometimes confusing for people. Paying by credit card, everything happens immediately, right? So once you validate your card, proceed with payment, you'll get a receipt saying you've paid, congratulations, everything is good. But we also have the option to pay via e-transfer. Now, unfortunately with e-transfer, if you select that, we can't just go into your bank account and take money out. So this is a 2-part process if you choose to pay this way. So if you hit e-transfer, you will fill out this information, proceed, and a receipt will come saying you've paid, but at the bottom, if you look at it, it'll say $0 or it'll say amount owed, whatever the amount is still. So this is where you'll need to go into your bank account and send an e-transfer to payment@softballontario.ca. As you can see right here on the screen, payment@softballontario.ca. That's where you send it. And then once that is received by us, your registration will be submitted. So I'm going to pay it by credit card here just for speed's sake. So you can try to use this number. It won't work. So if you think about using that for any other purchases, good luck with that. And we proceed with payment. Here it gives me a receipt. This will also be emailed to you as well. And then we hit continue. And then right here, we are an umpire. So that's kind of the process on that side of things. And now if you want to change, view your profile, change your password, security settings, that's can all be done through the My Account. If you want to register for a clinic, that should say, there should be an option there for register for clinic as well. And then you can search for all the clinics that we offer and you can sign up there. But looking at the profile here, this is kind of some of the stuff that we'll see. So here, the evaluation isn't here, but any clinics that you would take would also show up here. So if I take a level 1 clinic this year and then log in next year, it'll say level 1 clinic, where it was taken, what clinic it was and what date it was. So we'll be able to track that year over year, which is huge for us in the office. So we can actually track this a lot easier and a lot more efficiently. And when you call and say, hey, what level am I? We can look you up and we can determine that very, very quickly. So that is the process in terms of registration. A lot of you would already have done that before. That was just a bit of a refresher. Obviously, when you log in this go around, use the same email and whatnot that you have used before. If you don't remember your password, type in your security answer and it should allow you to reset that password. And then a couple questions here. Yeah, email. Yeah, we monitor that e-transfer payment all the time. No, not everyone will be a level 1. If you have never signed up through our system before, you will default to a level 1. If you aren't a level 1, so if you've taken some time off from umpiring or whatever, and you're no longer a level, or you're not a level 1, email the office and we can update that, and we can go back into the records that we do have and verify those levels. But that will default for any new umpire. It will default to 1. We can make the change on the back end after that. The e-transfer, it doesn't have to match the email that is sending the account. No, in the e-transfer section, there is a name of sender. So if it's not you sending the money, verify who that sender is in that area there. And then that will be tied to your account, so we can actually track it that way. Forgetting password. Yes, that was a bug last year, Mike, that unfortunately caused a lot of issues on our end. I know a bunch of people had issues with that, and so that is now fixed. So you should be able to reset it. If you are still having issues, let us know. There's currently no register button. When will it appear when clinics are available? Yes. So on this system that I just showed you, that is our testing system. So that is not necessarily current in terms of what you will be able to access. It will, when you log into your profile right now, you would see all the clinics that are available. A lot of coaching clinics are available right now, but once umpire clinics become available, that's where they will show up in there. Host League will be paying to register multiple umpires. No, I won't. That's not an issue. Everyone will have to register individually so that they have an account and that we have obviously emergency information and whatnot for them. However, if you want to have a bunch of people sign up at once, like I said, have them select e-transfer and then indicate who is paying that. So if the league is paying that or whatever, have them indicate Toronto Minor Softball in there. And then we will wait for payment from them. Until that payment comes, they won't be verified or they won't be active. And so we will wait for that until that comes through so that we can make them all active. This is not RAMP. This is a custom system that we've had built by a developer, and we've been working with them for the last few years. It's the same system. It's same developer who's developed the OA, PW, and slow pitch systems for their registration. Will that profile include class evaluations? Well, maybe. Obviously, at this point, we're going to have to go in and actively add all those, and so that may not happen very fast. That might be a job that we have time for later in the season, or if we hire interns or whatnot. But as of right now, only things moving forward will be put in. Like I said, if there are discrepancies with levels and whatnot, we can look up old files and whatnot and try and track that stuff down. But yeah, so for now, no, but potentially down the road. Lots of questions here. How do I get the NC on my card connected to level 2? I'm gonna NC. Jamie, you know what that is?
No, is that part of the coaching program or? I'm not sure what an NC is. So we used to all have umpire numbers. We no longer have them. So you could forget your umpire number. So those are gone because we don't need them. But I'm not sure what NC is. So whoever posted that question, can we maybe?
I think it's national certification.
Okay.
How do I get the, okay, so how do you get it corrected? Email the office email the info email. And we can look at that. We'll have to go through files and whatnot to see for verification and whatnot, but if there are discrepancies, send an email and we can then deal with it. Another, do players, coaches, and umpires register the same program? Not currently. So there's separate systems for the umpire program and our clinic profile, but then also coaches and whatnot have a different system that they will follow. So will rule books be mailed out after registration or separate by? So last year, there was a new rule book. Any umpire who registered last year was sent a rule book. If you didn't get a rule book, there's a good chance that your address was not updated in the system, and so you never got it. So any new umpire this year who did not umpire last year will get a rule book sent to them.
So just on the rule books, John, I was told, and I haven't tried this, that currently you can download our rule book off of Softball Canada for free. Try it and see if it works.
That's a
I
great
think
deal.
that
And I
was the
would,
case book.
No, yeah, the casebook's there for years, but I was told currently the rule book's available. I didn't need it, but so I haven't tried it, but if somebody wants
looks
to
like there's
try it.
yeah. Another question here as well. What are we supposed to enter on the Softball Canada exam website as it asks for a number? 0. It's not tied to there, like was mentioned, the umpire card. We don't use it in the office. Softball Canada doesn't use it. We have everything tied to your email address now. So that is where everything is tied to. And so that's how we track everything.
I think with
March 1st
registration
is the
there,
date.
Jonathan, excuse me, there's probably going to be lots of different questions.
Yeah.
Rather than take up a lot of time trying to answer individual questions where we have other things we want to do with our breakout groups, not to cut
Yep.
anything off and cut people short. But
No, absolutely.
I would suggest people email the office directly with their questions on registration from here on out, to get them answered. And that way we're not taking up everybody's time.
100% agree. That sounds like a good idea. So like I said, Amanda, Troy, and myself are in the office. Send an email. There's Amanda just typed in the email there that you can address questions to. And yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming on tonight. Best of luck this season. We look forward to seeing everyone on the diamond again. Stay tuned for more information on clinics and whatnot. Stay glued to social media, your email. We'll be sending out blasts, posting on the social media. So we'll be communicating with everyone that way. Other than that, Jamie, do you want to?
Yeah, just some instructions for what's going on next. We're going to take a 5-minute break. In the email that's sent out, there was 3 links. You've used the first one to sit in on this session. So there's 2 links remaining. If you want to sit in on the fast pitch session, which immediately follows this, click the link called fastball. For slow pitch, click that link. Unfortunately, you can't join both. You got to pick one. And so if that's everything for here, we'll reconvene in about 5 minutes in our appropriate sessions.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Jonathan.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.